Previously, I promised that if we would do our best to restore the correct name of the Lord's church, He would pour down His power and blessings upon the heads of the Latter-day Saints, the likes of which we have never seen. I renew that promise today. To help us remember Him and to identify the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as the Lord's church, we are pleased to introduce a symbol that will signify the central place of Jesus Christ in His church. This symbol includes the name of the church contained within the cornerstone. Jesus Christ is the chief cornerstone. At the center of the symbol is a representation of Thorvaldson's marble statue, the Christus. It portrays the resurrected living Lord reaching out to embrace all who will come unto Him. Symbolically, Jesus Christ is standing under an arch. The arch reminds us of the resurrected Savior emerging from the tomb on the third day following His crucifixion.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. So this is going to be hard-hitting. This is going to put you on the spot, shake you to the core. Because I would like you to prove Jesus is literal, real. Yeah, that same Jesus from the Gospels, which Mormons believe is in the Book of Mormon, spoken of by Joseph Smith. And you can't just claim, oh, well, his name is there in the text. Proven. No. He didn't prove anything. Samson's in the text. Isn't he the Christ? King David, isn't he the Christ? So again, why are you picking on Jesus? Why are you choosing Jesus? You're dismissing science when you do this. Because science has shown the Gospels, the Book of Mormon, and Joseph Smith history are not literal. The science. So to continue to claim Jesus is real is to deny science. You know, those subjects we were taught in grade school, for which you have a job that involves some kind of science. You're denying that. And so, what does Joseph Smith actually say about this? Go to the Joseph Smith history. And we have to use the Joseph Smith papers because the Joseph Smith history is incorrect. Joseph Smith papers, church's own website, they put it up. They put it up for Mormons. It's the authoritative source. That's what it says on the homepage. So, there's going to be a correction from the text as I read this to you. Owing to the many reports which have been put in circulation by evil disposed and designing persons. This was 1838 when he put this in here. In relation to the rise and progress of the Church of Latter-day Saints. No Jesus in here. It was added in. All of which have been designed by the authors thereof to militate against its character as a church. Which church? Who's the Christ? And its progress in the world. And so he's going to disabuse the public mind on it and put in the facts. And so, when you read over the first vision, who comes to him? Who? Well, personages. Oh no, what's the name? And so, when we get to see. There it is. Above the brightness of the sun. Sun at noonday. That's where it's the brightest. And obviously you're unfamiliar with Egyptian. Obviously you're unfamiliar with Isaiah and the Paleo-Hebrew of the name Emmanuel. Amen, God. The God of the Egyptians. The sun at noonday. Learning of the Jews. Language of the Egyptians. There it is, right there. He says that people are calling him a Jesus Christian church. And what happened here? In the beginning, we have a change made by Brigham Young. Willard Richards specifically. And they put in Jesus. Now, what did Joseph Smith say about such persons who were calling it a Jesus Christian church? Evil, disposed, and designing persons. It was Brigham and his 12 that were going around talking about the Book of Mormon. It is they who told the converts it's a Jesus Christian church. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Brigham. And here in 1838, Joseph Smith comes out and says, evil, disposed, and designing persons are calling this a Jesus Christian church. What happened to Joseph Smith? Why are we still called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as Brigham Young changed it to? Oh, right. Brigham Young founded this church. You see what's going on? Yeah, it's a harsh reality for us as Mormons, born and raised in the covenant. And so, yeah, I've gone over the authority issue. Brigham Young could only preach the gospel. That's it. That's all. That's the keys of Peter, James, and John. Preach. They can establish the church where they are. But I found in the Joseph Smith papers, Joseph Smith telling the 12, once you've established the church, you get the hell out of there. You're no longer allowed in. It's up to the local administration now to take over the church. You're no longer welcome. You have no authority over an established church. They are only to preach and set up a church. That's it. That's all. And so, Joseph Smith dies. All the keys gone. Brigham Young starts his branch. He only has the keys to preach. Not the keys of patriarch. He has no keys of the temple. No keys of the presidency. No keys for stake presidents, bishops, and yet he's organizing a church as if he's the president of the church with those keys, which he turned into Peter, James, and John's keys, not Moses's key. Section 107, verse 91. And this is the Church of Jesus Christ. And so, Joseph Smith, his history became literal. Book of Mormon became literal in order to establish his change, his big lie upon Mormons and upon future generations, so that CNN's Fast Facts gets it wrong, so the Wikipedia has to be changed to show that he's not the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He's the first. He's the founder. And Nelson? Yeah. He established an idol Jesus for you. Now do you see what's going on? These are the latter days. It was prophesied. An idol god would be built for people to worship. Ta-da! I went over with you in yesterday's video, last night's video, so that everybody was sleeping while it was gaining hours. So it's got some catching up to do. Right, guys? You're going to watch that video? Chronology of the Latter-day signs, or Latter-day events. And so it's within the time frame of the latter days when it was supposed to be erected. And sure enough, 2020, 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, 2020 years from 8 April 2024. 8 April 4 CE. It's blatantly obvious, but when we're born and raised to impose Jesus here, and he lies with the editing of Jesus Christ in the name of the church. And Mormons use that argument, don't you? You're not a Christian church. Oh, we have Jesus right here in the center of our name. Now, the thing is that we were telling people that we don't worship the cross. We don't have the symbol of the cross as our symbol. And we didn't know that it's actually the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Because that's what Joseph Smith says. It's the great and abominable church of the great and abominable Christ that establishes Jesus as their Christ. See, Constantine's Christianity, it fell. In the book of Daniel, the iron and clay that get shattered, that's Constantine. Constantine was a Roman emperor. He established Christianity. It collapses in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Great and abominable church of Constantine, gone. There's thousands of Christian churches now. All scattered clay chunks all over the world. Each with their own gospel. Each with their own doctrine. And they're still splitting. The Methodists just recently split, for example. There's still new churches being formed. It's destroyed. And so what was wrong with Bruce R. McConkie? It's wrong of Mormons to claim that it's the Catholic Church. What about the other Christian churches then, Mormons? They're all the same. They just have different interpretations. Different interpretations means different doctrines, different natures and characters of Jesus. Because if you say that your Jesus requires baptism by immersion, and another one says, well, it's baptism as a baby by sprinkling, you're saying that Jesus has different ideas on baptism. You can't claim that it's the same Jesus. And yet they try to. But, yeah, big lies, guys. And so the Book of Mormon is not talking about Constantine's church, per se, using it as the background for it, but it's also Babylon, great and abominable church, collapsed. It's talking about the latter days, within the time frame, which means it's on the earth right now. And there it is, the 1838 edition, where Joseph Smith is condemning this name, this person, as literal. So the Gospels are still good, but they're like all other learning of the Jews, messianic literature, prophesying of the Jews. It's a prophecy. They're not literal history. That's why Herod dies 7 BCE. And so this Jesus narrative has to therefore, if it's literal, take place in the BCs, prior to 7 BCE. We're looking at like at least 10 BC. Nobody wants to consider that, do they? Everybody claims it's 1 AD to 33 AD. And that's it, that's all. And science must be damned. Science denial. See what's been done? And so Mormons have no claim on Jesus as their Christ. It's not the case. Quit lying.